What's up, Sean? Good morning, man. Let's go. Midtown, Texas. Good morning. What's up, Midtown? Sam Salinas, good morning. Thanks for joining, man. Chris Gonzalez. What's Mike going to do? Backpedal today. Gonna move the goalpost. Matt Gomez. Nombre chanclazo, Mike. You know what? Happy birthday to you, Matt Gomez. Appreciate you, man, for supporting the show. Morning, Charlie Hernandez. Jesse A. Albert Gonzalez, or Albert Lopez, should I say. Good morning. Yeah, everybody's going to be dragging ass all week, man. It's going to be one of those, you know, because it's already at the end of the year. It's December. Everybody's coming back from the Thanksgiving holiday. Nobody wants to do nothing today, man. Except for Christopher Leja, the hardest working man out there, man. Pouring that diamond hard concrete this morning. What's up, Christopher? Oh my God. Again, they want the Edgar Mike t-shirts.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another episode here of the Alamo City Sportscast. We are bringing you all your information as far as the world of sports, entertainment, you know, coming at you on this lovely Monday morning from the beautiful west side of San Antonio. Puro Exit 7 in the house here. We're still waiting on Mike to come in. If he's not late, he's not on time. But we're going to be talking about the San Antonio Spurs coming back from about 15, 17-point deficit against the Kings. Wemby having a triple-double. We'll talk about that. What does this mean for the Spurs moving forward? What does it tell us about this team? And we're also going to be talking about the NFL. I'm talking about what happened as far as the standings go with the NFL. We'll be talking about Week 13, recapping that a little bit, talking about the latest college football standings. Everybody wants to know where they're going to be jockeying for position as the college football playoffs are about to begin here. UTSA, they almost had a big upset over the weekend. Played tough against Army, although they came up short, but showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit. Playing against a 10-1 Army team. Oh, look who showed up now. He's in the house.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, they also want to talk about all the college game fights.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so couple things.
Oh, God.
You guys are going to need to educate me today on what happened in the Spurs game last night, because last night was an adventure at the airport.
Oh,
so I only got to see the fourth quarter.
Hey, well, that's a good thing then. If you didn't see the game, we'll attribute that to the reason they won. And even Leja's like, I didn't get to watch the game, so you're welcome.
There you go. Okay, so let's talk about lots of things today. First of all, we had a Cowboys victory on Thanksgiving Day against a third-string quarterback. So the Cowboys back-to-back wins. Joe, are you excited about this?
Yeah, I'm excited about this, man. It's going to be a good win for us, man.
Texans also got a win. They suck ass, though, dude. And that was one of the dirtiest plays of the year on that Texans guy. That guy's going out there saying that people are coming after him because of his religion. No, it's because you're a dirty player. Ohio State, Michigan, pepper spray used to clear out the 50-yard line. Who was more in the wrong? Ohio State for attacking the Michigan guy trying to plant the flag. We'll talk about that. Spurs 11-9 after 20 games. Who would have thought?
You, not you, and not me.
Hey,
I don't think anybody would have thought that they would have been here.
You know what? I mean, again, what happens when the team is at full strength?
No, I already know what you're going to say. No.
What happens?
No, I already know what you're going to say.
All I know is There's a guy with green hair that's not on the court. What happens with the green hair guy? We have an alien. What happens with the green hair guy comes back? What happens then, Joe? What happens if the Spurs start struggling when the green hair guy comes back? We'll talk about that. Lots of things went on, Joe. I got to tell you about what happened this weekend, Joe. Have you ever been to a concert that got super cochino? Or some sort of event that got really cochino? Because that happened to me and my girlfriend over the weekend. Saturday night, she's just like, hey, Michael, I want to go watch a concert. So Usher performed out there in Houston at the Toyota Center. And, dude, I mean, it was going back 30 years of Usher. Cannot believe it's been 30 years since he first came out, Joe. And it's like a celebration of 3 decades of work. And you go back and, dude, it was hit after hit after hit after hit. And it was a great concert for about an hour and a half. And then it was like Diddy showed up. No, Diddy didn't actually show up, but it got really Diddy'd the last hour and a half of what was going on, Joe. They brought out 12 girls from the stands to do a stripping contest.
Oh, God.
Like, who could twerk the best. They had actual strippers on stage performing. It was bad, dude. It got really, really nasty down the stretch. My girlfriend was a little bit uncomfortable there. And I don't think she was the only one. I think half of us were like, wait a minute, I thought we were going to listen to, Usher music, some ballads, some OMG.
What do you think is going to happen when you go to an Usher concert, man?
Dude, I mean, this is Usher, dude. Usher seems to be pretty clean cut for the most part.
Come on, Mike.
His I want to make love in this club. I mean, come on, man. It's pretty tame.
Listen to the songs that he's making, bro.
It's pretty tame. So one of the cool things was he did have some special guests come out there. My favorite one being Nelly. Nelly went out there singing "Hot in Here," had the Band-Aid and everything.
You didn't go to the concert with the Band-Aid on your cheek?
Well, I had no idea he was going to be there. He had Scarface from Ghetto Boys perform, and Jermaine Dupri came out there and sang a couple of songs as well, which is pretty badass, man. But it got cochino, dude. It got cochino in a hurry. Dude, Usher was jerking off on stage. He was jerking off on stage. The hell was going on out there? Now, he was covered up, but he was jerking off. You could tell what he was doing.
Yeah.
Dude, there was this girl with a low top. He made a beeline towards her, got off the stage, and was talking to her with his microphone. He went out and got cherries and dangled them in front of girls' faces so that it was kind of like, to simulate something.
Yeah, I got you.
It was cochino, dude. It was cochino. Midtown Texas saying Mike closed his eyes and covered his ears. Because all supposed to know was Jimenez's ex-stripper girl on the stage.
She was probably at the concert.
So saying Mike bumped into the person in front of him and it wasn't his feet, dude. The girl that sat in front of me couldn't sit down because her butt was so big. She had to hover above the chair. It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, man. We made it this morning when we have our first spammer already in the chat, going strong. Don't worry, guys. I took care of him. He's out of here already. But that's how you made it, man. When you get the spammers coming in.
Oh, what was it? An actual spam or just somebody who was just like hating the show?
Spammers hating the show. Spammers. It's one and the same. They hate the show. They don't even watch it, and then they put like ugly comments and stuff on here. And of course, already know what's coming next. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and delete them.
Will they come after you or me?
No. Just saying, both of us, saying disrespectful stuff as far as it being racist, right? But the next thing that's gonna be coming once they do that kind of stuff, they always have some type of porn link or something like that they put in the chat. That's why I stay on top of it. That's why you heard us talking when the show was going, because I had to go to YouTube and go ahead and take care of the spammers, man. But I'm on it.
Not a problem, man. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so what happened last night was kind of interesting because I flew back from Houston to San Antonio. I had a 6 p.m. flight, Joe. Got to the airport at 4:20, and I thought to myself, okay, it's an hour and 40. I'm going to have some time to do what I need to do to get through. Joe, getting into IAH was a natural disaster. We moved 2 miles an hour for the better part of 2 hours. At some point, Joe, I jumped out of the truck and I ran to the terminal. 1.2 miles, Joe. It was faster for me to get out of the truck with my duffel bag and run the rest of the way than it was to actually stay in the car. And it was legit because she had to get her way. My girlfriend had to get back to Terminal C at some point, because that's where the road was going to go. I beat her there by 20 minutes, Joe. I get to the gate. Well, actually, first of all, TSA scans me. Again, they slowed me down, dude. TSA always does this, man. They give me that second and double, triple pat. This time, they got my bag and they wanted to go through it all, right? What was in there? 2 jackets, a pair of shoes, and some chones. That's all I had in there. And they pat me down. They sent me on my way. I missed the flight.
Damn it.
Got rebooked onto the next flight. Had to stay there for 2 hours to wait for the flight. Came back to San Antonio. Got home, fed the dogs, turned on the TV, and realized that the Spurs were still in the game. They were down by like 4 points. I was kind of keeping track of it the game during the on the plane. They were tied when we landed. When we landed, got there, saw the last like 6 or 7 minutes of the game. Joe, tell me what happened, baby.
It was a good game, man. The Spurs came back. I mean, for the most part, Sacramento was up on the Spurs most of the game. You know, we fell behind early. But I was like, they're just kind of hanging around, man. They were down. They started making a little stride into the lead. Mm-hmm. By halftime, I think they were down by like 10 points or so. Like, well, it's not bad. I mean, they're within striking distance. Third quarter came around. I'm like, this team's just going to hang around. I'm like, I think this team might actually come back.
Right.
And sure enough, they started playing better on defense. Wemby had a great game.
His third triple-double?
Yeah, third triple-double. I mean, he was playing great. He was playing amazing. He was looking for his teammates. He was coming up, setting screens for Chris Paul. Chris Paul was hitting some big shots as well down the stretch.
Keldon had a big game.
Keldon had a great game as well. The team was just playing overall really good team basketball to close out this game. And again, when they came out into crunch time and it's like getting close and Sacramento's hitting some big threes, Spurs had an answer, man. Chris Paul hit a big 3 as well. And each team was hitting big shots after big shot. But at the end of the day, the Spurs did enough to win this game. It almost seemed like at times that the momentum might swing in the Kings' favor. But a lot of Spurs fans were on Spurs Twitter saying the refs were on our side tonight.
I heard that.
I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, I was reading people's posting on Twitter while on the plane saying, it's nice seeing Wemby get some superstar calls, is what they were saying. We have a super chat coming in, $5.47 coming in from the Drew Show, saying Mike was like O.J. Simpson in that old Avis commercial, going on talking about spam links and racist comments. That's when you know you've made it on the internet. Woohoo! Yeah. Thank you for the support, Drew. Appreciate it. I'm there in Houston pretty frequently because my girl lives out there in Conroe, between Conroe and the Woodlands. So I avoid. People were asking me the question on Twitter. The 610, which is apparently their version of the 410.
Yeah.
I avoid Houston unless I'm going to an event. Unless I'm going to the Toyota Center, I avoid it like crazy.
Houston traffic sucks, dude. It's always so busy. I mean, it's a big city.
It does suck, Joe. This weekend, Joe, well, we'll talk more about the Spurs, but this weekend, Joe, running the Rock and Roll Half Marathon, my goal is just to finish it. Just finish it.
And look at that. We got another $2.47 incoming super chat from the Jew Show, and he goes,
he wants the grito.
Grito.
What's the grito for Spurs being more above 500 after 20 games? Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and do that. I think that is deserving of a grito, actually, man. So we're going to go ahead and play it for you, Drew.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
Pouring one out for the Sacramento Kings. Again, the Spurs got that victory on the road. Spurs now 11-9 on the season, according to the standings. Right now, the number 10 spot in the West, tied with the Nuggets, who are at number 9. There's a difference in the win percentage there. Spurs are just one game away from the number 6 spot, which is, again, the top 6 spots make the playoffs.
Yeah,
7 through 10 make the play-in tournament.
Currently, as it stands, and we look at the latest and Western Conference standings, the Spurs are at the 10th spot.
Oh, wait. Sohan, Sam Salinas with a comment there. And all without Sohan, we don't need Sohan. Sohan going out there with new hair. He's got that lime green hair, that raspa colored hair over there. So, Joe, I remember before the season started, people asked the question, what teams in the West are the Spurs better than?
Yeah.
And I remember you and I both said Utah and Portland. Spurs were better than Utah and Portland.
I remember that.
We also had a conversation about how Minnesota without Cat could fall off the face of the earth, and Minnesota's now 9-10.
Yeah.
We also talked about the fact that New Orleans, even though they got DeJounte Murray, they always get injured. They always have bad chemistry. The Spurs could go over them. We figured that Sacramento would be that next team the Spurs would need to jump over. Sacramento now with DeMar DeRozan, former Spur. And it looks like the Spurs are better than them.
Yeah, so let's see. These are the latest standings right now from
Yeah.
the Western Conference. At the bottom of the barrel, you have the Pelicans with their record is 4-17, followed by the Jazz, 4-16, Trailblazers, 8-13. The Kings are now 9-12. Timberwolves are 9-10. Spurs sitting at the 10 spot in the West at 11-9. And then you have your usual suspects up there. Number 9, you have the Nuggets. 8 is the Suns. 7, the Clippers. Number 6, you have the Lakers. At 5, it's the Mavericks. At 4, Warriors. 3, Grizzlies. And the top 2 teams in the West, Rockets and Thunder.
I think the way that it's segmented right now with the 6 playoff teams, I think the Oklahoma City, Houston, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Lakers, I think by far and away they're the top 6 best teams in the West. And they should finish in the top 6.
Yeah.
If you look at the bottom 5, Minnesota, Sacramento, Portland, Utah, New Orleans, those are the bottom 5 teams. Like, I don't see either of those 5 teams jumping out of there. I think where the Spurs are situated in the play-in tournament, 7, 8, 9, 10, Clippers, Suns, Nuggets, Spurs, that's kind of where we are. We don't suck. We're not good. We're just, all right, we're pretty good. We're fine. You know, that's where the Spurs are situated, because you can't tell me that Phoenix is better than the Spurs. You can't tell me that the Clippers are better than the Spurs right now. The Spurs have gone up.
Look at our good friend Matt Lerma. Thank you for the comment, Matt. Appreciate you.
Oh, Matt Lerma saying y'all gonna look silly when the Spurs keep winning with Sohan. You know what's funny is that Matt Lerma right there just contradicted himself, because Matt Lerma is the king of telling me, well, you never know. That's his comment all the time on Twitter when I say certain things are going to happen. Well, you never know.
I like
Matt,
the back and forth.
Matt, guess what? You never know. You never know. And you know what, Matt? I will give you this, though, because people call it a flip-flop, or you know what? Go ahead. Let's do the flip-flop. Let's do the flip-flop.
You want the
Yeah,
chanclazo?
well, let's go do that. Again, 5 days into the season, 5 games into the season, what happened? Pop went out with a stroke. Mitch Johnson became the head coach. Interim head coach, but he is the head coach. And as you know, again, he has Brett Brown, he has other coaches on the team, but during the game, that is his team, right? He is the head coach of this team. It's kind of hard to say, well, Michael, what's your prediction going to be? When the prediction being made was what? Pop being the coach. The prediction being made was Sohan playing 30 minutes and clogging up the paint. The prediction was what? Wemby getting fewer touches than Sohan, getting fewer touches than Vassell. This is where I think that Mitch Johnson deserves his flowers. And this is where it flushes any prediction that I made down the toilet, is because he's correcting everything that was obvious, Joe. It was obvious that Wemby needed more touches. It was obvious that the offense had to flow through him and that it stalled under Sohan. It was obvious that there was a youth movement needed. It was obvious. So call it a flip-flop if you want. That makes you feel better. That's great. But if I had all the news in front of me, if I knew that Pop wasn't going to be the head coach of this team, I wouldn't have predicted what I predicted.
The punt.
No, see, that's different, because the punt was what? The punt was they're not going after a superstar, and they didn't get a superstar.
No.
Harrison Barnes is not a superstar. Chris Paul's not a superstar.
They got pieces.
Chris Paul's a 1-year rental.
So Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes will be here next year.
Yeah, he'll be here next year.
Okay. So it was a punt.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a punt on a big name. It was a punt on Trae Young. It was a punt on Lauri Markkanen. That's exactly what I was talking about, Joe. But no one wants to hear it that way, right? No one wants to. You know, the number of people, Joe, and you know what? You have joined Jeff Garcia in just putting out, saying that I said that Wemby was just.
You know
a guy.
what's funny?
Never said
Yes,
that.
you
Joe.
did. We have the tape on it. I think of what the whole thing was. It was a comparison when you had him and Giannis, and you said, we have to go ahead and think of it this way. Is Wemby just a guy?
No.
You know, not like a superstar player. You're like, he might not be a superstar. You said he might be just an all-star.
That's not what I said, Joe. What did I say, Joe? I said, what if the possibility that Wemby is not a transcendent player? What if he's not head and shoulders above
He's
everybody else?
Just a guy.
I said, what if he's just like Giannis, a 2 or 3 time MVP? Joe, if I said, look at the floor I put down there, Joe. The floor I put down there, Joe, is what Wemby's maybe a 2 or 3 time MVP.
Oh,
How is you putting the words in my mouth that I said he's just a
I
guy?
didn't put the words in your mouth.
Find the tape.
You did.
Find the tape. You know why it's easy to find the tape? Because I tweeted it out there about a month ago, Joe. It'll be so easy for me to prove you wrong.
Okay.
Because I can go through my timeline.
We want to play this game. We're gonna play this.
We're gonna play this game because I never said Wemby was just a guy. I said he might not be the GOAT. He might not be a top 5 or 10 player of all time.
He might not be an NBA a superstar.
No, I said he's probably a top 50 player of all time. Joe, I have the tape. That's why I have no problems going after you on this one.
Well, you don't have to go after me.
I have
usually pull the tapes, but if you want me to pull the tape,
I've already pulled the tape. It's literally on my timeline like 2 months ago.
I'll get the clip and I'll put it out there for you.
What if he's a top 50 player of all time? What if he's not Tim Duncan? What if he's closer to David Robinson? What if he's closer to Giannis? What if he's a top 10 to 50 guy and not a top 10 guy? But never did I say that he was below a top 50 player of all time.
We'll get the tape
because if I said that he's just a guy, just the guys are not making multiple All-Star teams. Just a guy are not making the Hall of Fame, Joe.
Look at that.
So take that back.
Look at hand over fist. MJ stuttering equals cap.
Shit. I'm gonna find that. That's so easy. It's so easy to find.
It's so easy to find.
It's so easy to find.
It's
so easy to find. You know what? I'm gonna find it right now. I just gotta go back like 4 weeks of my timeline. Joe. This is the easiest argument I've ever had to win.
It says because you're stuttering, it's a cap. That's how you know someone's lying when he's stuttering.
I'm going backwards in time. I'm 3 weeks back. I'm 3 weeks back. I'm going to find it.
Wemby plays a few games sick, and all of a sudden, he's not going to be a great player. Come on, Mike.
Never said that.
You have terrible takes for no reason. You never give context. Just 100% agenda.
Let me find it.
Oh, man. Remember when Mike said Wemby was washed?
That's funny. That's funny. You all getting like multiple takes, putting them in a blender, and just turning it into a take smoothie.
I think that one was my favorite. He's washed. Oh, sometimes you fly off the handles, man, and it's funny, dude. We just sit here and watch, and usually somewhere in between the show, while I'm busy with the comments and you're busy spewing whatever.
Yeah,
Jeff's all cook. I'm like, bro, the show hasn't even ended yet.
Again, what did I say? I said it's very possible that Wemby is an all-star. Very possible a 2 or 3 MVP, 2 or 3 time MVP.
Welcome to another
Joe dollar. I said what? I said Wemby could be a 2 or 3 time MVP. He could be an all-star for many, many years. He's going to be a Hall of Famer and a top 50 player of all time. My question, and it's still a question right now, Joe, is he going to be so head and shoulders above everybody else? He's not yet. Is he a top 10 player in the NBA right now? He most definitely is. But is he ever going to be number one? Is he ever going to be so far above number one? Because that was what was sold to us, Joe. Maybe, maybe not. That's the thing. I can't tell you that he's not going to be, but you can't tell me that he is.
Look at Mario Cavasso says, Mike said Wemby is closer to Sean Bradley than David Robinson.
You guys all suck, dude.
Damn.
Y'all suck.
They coming in.
You know what's so funny? Jimenez said, and
we should have that as a segment. Jimenez said.
And it's like you guys are like 10% accuracy.
Hey, I'd like that. That's something that I just thought of right now. Right? Remember this day and time. Jimenez said. We should.
What's that one line for that movie about print the legend?
Jimenez said. Jeremy Sohan comes back and has a triple-double. Jimenez said he's washed.
From the man who shot Liberty Vance, the 1962 movie.
Oh.
When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. That's what it is, man.
Look at JHNS be quiet when Wemby gets a triple-double. And I was saying last night, I thought it was funny because I'm like, well, Wemby had a triple-double. You can't come at him with the EFG no more. Well, for that one game.
Well, as I mentioned on Twitter yesterday, Wemby's stats before the season started, I put my number down on here, which is based on the shot selection that he has, because he's shooting just as many threes as he is two, and more often than not, it's maybe one or two more threes than 2-point shots. I asked the question, well, what is the effective field goal percentage that he needs to be? I'm big on that because I'm big on efficiency. And you know what? We had Danny Green on last week doing a Spurs game, right?
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Well, but Danny Green, Danny Green talking about, what was the first thing he talked about? I don't know if you remember this.
Oh yeah, I heard
he was talking about shooting effective field goal shooting percentage.
Yeah,
he was talking about how you need to be analytically good at what you do on the basketball court. And he was talking about various players, about how some players kind of just, are so efficient that it's ridiculous. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and things like that.
They're good shooters.
There is a number to hit, Joe. And, so if we're looking at the numbers from last year of Victor Wembanyama, and I've got the stats out right now. Obviously, he was Rookie of the Year, and he was second place in Defensive Player of the Year. But last year, his effective shooting percentage was 51.9%, which for what he's trying to do is bad, but not awful. It was bad, right? Because what were you doing? You were shooting 46% from the field, 32.5% from three. 51.9, it's not horrific. It just wasn't good. For the position that he plays and the volume that he shoots at from three, he needs to be at around 0.560. 0.560. Right now, he's at 0.573.
Well, look at this. Is probably
and for those of you who don't know what an effective field goal shooting percentage is, it is your field goal shooting percentage when you factor in 3-point shots. It's kind of like slugging percentage in baseball. You can have a 300 batting average, but if you get lots of doubles and homers, like Aaron Judge or somebody like that, your slugging percentage is higher. So last year, when Wemby shot the ball at a 0.519 pace, that means that every 100 times he shot the ball, he would score about 104 points, right? So to get that, Joe, 100 shots up, right about 104 points scored. Right now, he's at 57.3%, which means for every 100 shots he takes, he's scoring about 114, 115 points. There's a big difference, Joe, between making 114 points and 104 on the same volume of shots. Why is he doing that? It's because his 2-point percentage has gone up significantly, and his 3-point shooting has gone from 32.5 to 35%. If he's shooting at 35, 36%, then he can fire away. Is that a good shooting percentage, Joe? It's not, but it's not bad.
You're going to say
it's all right.
It's Marbach nice?
It's slightly above Marbach nice. It's like 2024 North Star nice. He gets a 36, 37%. He's La Cantera nice. Okay.
You know what? We had some good comments coming in here. Turner and Alice sent me a Facebook Messenger message with some stats. I'll put that on there. But this one to me was a funny one. Look at this. Midtown, Texas. Always coming in with the good comments. Jimenez said, "Is Santa washed?" AD crumbles by himself, somebody said, because they were saying, JHNSB says, "Wemby is living up to the hype now. I'm proud of him. Still crumbles every time he plays AD."
Dude, we can't talk about the Lakers games, man. That is, Joe, you and I talked about that the other day. The Lakers are the worst matchup for the Spurs of any team in the NBA.
No.
That is a bad matchup for the Spurs. Spurs could play them 10 times. We'll lose all 10 games. That is a terrible matchup. And the Spurs are a terrible matchup for other teams. It's just is what it is. Tony Ronaldo reaches out to us right now on our YouTube stream. Says, take a look at the stats of Wemby. Wemby averaging 31.1 points per game the last 8 games.
Yeah.
54% from the field the last 8 games. 43% from three.
There are the stats.
11 rebounds. His assists have gone up to 4.6. Blocks are still around 3.5. And the steals are still over 1. Joe, here's the thing, Joe. We've seen the Spurs get Vassell back into the mix, but he's still coming off the bench.
Yep.
Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 was on the show going over the analytics. We called it Spurs Moneyball. And it still maintains the best Spurs lineup is what they're doing right now. Mitch Johnson deploying out there, Wemby with 2 shooters, Barnes and Champagny, and then 2 scores, two people who can.
What was
who
Champagne's
have
nickname?
handles.
You gave him Cardio.
Cardio. That was one that I've taken back a little bit. But then you have on the side over there, you have CP3 and Stefan Castle. Vassell, who had a good game yesterday. Vassell's a good player. I mean, he's averaged 19 points per game.
He had some
last
big
couple
shots.
of seasons.
Big shots last night.
The guy could score. The question is, can he score with Wemby out there, and can they coexist? Because last year we saw that they didn't coexist very well. And what did Wemby do? Wemby balled out the second that Vassell got hurt. The second that Sochan got hurt.
He was out the rest of the season, I remember. And then at that point is when Wemby kind of took off and he was getting his numbers up there. Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing what the Spurs do. And when I say the Spurs, I'm talking about Mitch Johnson. What they do when Jeremy Sochan comes back. Because Jeremy Sochan, I'm going through his shot attempts here. Here are the attempts he had to start the season. 19, 16, and 13. Right? He was out there shooting the ball 19 times, Joe. 16 times. And both of those games, he had more attempts than Wemby. The point is, maybe the Spurs do get better when Sochan comes back. I'm going to reserve judgment on that to see what Mitch Johnson does and how Mitch Johnson plays this guy. How does Mitch Johnson coach Sochan into being a better part of the offense? Yeah, he's obviously a good teammate. He's obviously loved, right? He brings energy. He has heart. He's messy on the court. He doesn't mind being tough and scrapping up and getting into conflicts. I get that.
Yeah.
But can Mitch Johnson tell Sochan, look, dude, you're a puzzle piece, man. You're not the puzzle. You're the mashed potatoes. You're not the turkey.
He's not the gravy.
You just, here's your role. Because I honestly thought, Joe, for so long, that Pop focused so much on how to make Sochan better that Wemby was over here getting fewer shots. Point guard Sochan, Wemby getting fewer shots. Implement this thing that Wemby and Mitch Johnson. The one thing that he and his supporting staff of Brett Brown, all them, what they realize is that the focal point of this team needs to be Wemby and Wemby alone.
Wemby actually being the focal point now, and what he's been able to do out there has a lot to do with the way that the coaching styles are a little bit different between what Mitch Johnson is running now versus what Coach Pop in the prior regime was running out there. And that's better floor spacing. When you have better floor spacing, lo and behold, Wemby can work. Right. Nobody's bunched up all together, creating a log jam. Like, move out of the way and let your superstar work. Wemby's able to get the ball out, get the guys that are open, easy buckets, alley-oops, getting people cutting with and moving without the ball. I mean, that's what basketball's supposed to be.
When was the last time you saw someone try to block a Sochan three-point attempt?
Been a while, man.
Remember back in the day when the Spurs would play Oklahoma City and they had Russell Westbrook. We'd call him Westbrook. And it was one of those things where offensively, you would want Russell Westbrook to shoot a three. For Golden State, you'd want Draymond Green to shoot the three because it just wasn't efficient. Well, were there some days when they knocked down 3 or 4 in a game? Yeah. I mean, but
well, Draymond Green, let's face it, man, he's not the same caliber of player he used to be.
Right. But the point is, even in their primes, though, they were inefficient shooters.
Yeah, I mean, people weren't coming out and just wanting to go out on Draymond Green shooting a three. You'd be like,
You don't have to focus on Sochan. If you're on defense, you don't have to focus on Sochan. Because if Sochan goes off, well, you just sit there and accept it because more often than not, he's not going to.
Look at Matt Lerma. He's in here. He's saying, Wemby literally plays the same way.
No, he doesn't, Matt.
Sochan. He says, when Wemby gets doubled, he passes. The only difference is that he's not passing to host Sochan while he's injured.
No, he does not. No, he does not, Matt. He plays like a fringe all-star with Sochan out there and plays like an all-NBA first-team player, Matt. Quit with the Sochan glasses, dude. Come on, man. This is the stats. We've shown the stats.
I can't.
I mean, he wants this to be true so badly. He doesn't want to show that Wemby is so much better with Sochan out there. But Mitch Johnson coming in, dude. When was the last time a comment made me stand up?
I don't know, but I love it. I love it, Matt. I can't wait to get you and Matt in the same room together.
Nice.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun conversation.
Matt, Man, come on, dude. Come on, man.
You got him out of his seat,
We
Matt.
can throw so many numbers
you,
at
brother.
you, Matt. You know, and Vassell, I mean, being surprised if Vassell goes off and knocks down some shots, Vassell's a shooter.
Matt Lerma got you doing cardio, standing up and moving around.
I know. I mean, Vassell's a shooter. You know, shooters shoot and shooters make buckets. Vassell had a good game last night. Great. I'm happy for him. I like Vassell.
Roy says, "Open your eyes, Mateo."
JNHSB, my burner account. Numbers don't lie.
Jeez, you guys are ridiculous in the chat today, man. But I
no,
love it,
no.
I love it.
No, Joe. No, let's see how it sounds like when I say it. Let's see how it sounds like.
What does it say? It sounds better when someone else says it.
Wemby plays the exact same with Sohan than without. I mean, I know he averages just 20 points per game when Sohan's out there and 31 that he does without him, but they're the same because 20 and 31 are identical. You know, shooting 30% from three and 45% from three are identical. The Spurs having more efficient numbers without Sohan is identical. No, it's not, man.
Look at Vane Stain says, Mike almost forgot. He said Sohan is our best player early on.
But that doesn't mean that he's efficient.
What did they say? They were saying today before you even came out on the show. They're like, how is Mike going to move the goalpost today?
Dude, okay, so
like
when the season started, Joe, Sohan was the only one ready to start the regular season. That is facts. He was the only one there starting the regular season, and the Spurs were getting bullied the first 3 or 4 games, and the only one not getting bullied was Sohan. Just because I like Sohan's heart and desire and I like his motor doesn't mean that he's an efficient player out there. He's not.
You might like this comment too by Dark Aeons. He's saying Vassell thinks it's his team.
He's the highest paid player. I don't doubt the fact that he does think that. And when Vassell's going off, dude, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Look at somebody's agreeing with you. Christian Ochoa says, I think it's Wemby's shot percentage is independent of Sohan being in or out.
It's not, dude. Chemistry matters in sports. Confidence level matters in sports.
So how do you think the chemistry is going to be when Sohan gets back?
I don't know.
Or what are they going to do?
I would know the answer if Pop was the head coach.
God.
Because we have never seen a Mitch Johnson led team with Jeremy Sohan.
True enough.
And if Jeremy Sohan goes out there and balls out, it's going to be a great thing to see, and I want to see it. I want to see Jeremy Sohan have a successful career with the Spurs. I want to see him and Wemby work.
What does Mitch Johnson do with Jeremy, though? Does he start him coming off the bench? I mean, what do you do? You have Champagny? I mean,
I wouldn't start him to start out. I think you still give him the 25 to 30 minutes. But the thing about it is this. I think that Mitch Johnson has a better chance of talking to Sohan and going, dude, this is what we need from you.
Hey, man, you're gonna have to come off the bench.
Well, I mean, even if it's that, I don't want Sohan to play 10, 15 minutes. I don't want him at the end of the bench. I want him to be part of this team.
I'm going to be on your side for once, right? Yeah. Harrison Barnes was named what? The Western Conference player of the
month, the player of the week.
Player of the week. Who was not on the team? Would have happened if Sohan was on the team?
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. But the thing is that maybe, just maybe, Mitch Johnson has a role for Sohan and gives him guidance and direction and expectations of him that are more into his strength. And maybe he blossoms as a player and blossoms with Wemby alongside of him because they know their roles better. That's the thing. I hope Sohan comes back. I hope he comes back better. And I think Mitch Johnson can get him better. So I'm going to withhold judgment right now because I've never seen it. You've never seen it without Pop. I've never seen him without Pop. So it's kind of hard to make a prediction about that.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony Ornelas. He's trying to get everybody to give some love to the show, man. If you like what we're doing, give us some love. It does help us grow. And we've grown so much already that we've set our new goal for this month to be 2,000 subscribers, which I think we're actually going to hit. I don't think we're going to have a problem hitting that because we're growing by leaps and bounds right now, especially in these last 2 months. Right now, we have a subscriber count of 1,752 strong. And our December goal was $200 this month for the super chats. We're already at 173. and it's just going on up, man.
So many people on our stream right here, JHNSB, Dark Aeon, Sam Salinas, all saying that they would love to see Sohan coming off the bench because they're saying, hey, yes, Sohan, Vassell, Keldon, Bassie, that's a pretty legit, second unit, Joe. About a month ago, if you had asked Spurs fans, do they want to see Sohan coming off the bench, it would have been 90% no. They would have been like, no, he's our starter. They would have been there. You know what? Right now, the only person who's standing there wanting Sohan to be the starter is Matt Lerma.
No, man. Look at Chris Gonzalez.
And Matt Lerma right now is kind of like the end of the movie The Three Amigos, where it's Jefe, and he's there going, I'm still with you, El Guapo. He's the only guy left. Everyone is scattered.
Doesn't he shoot him too?
He shot him I'm still with you, El Guapo.
Boom.
El Guapo being pop.
Look at Chris Gonzalez. He says, is Sohan on the floor during winning time? I don't want to see him. Oh, my God, dude. The Sohan hate is strong in the chat this morning, dude.
You know what's so funny? Okay, so, Joe, this is what's funny about the Sohan hate on this podcast.
Jeez.
And James Pledger would always say that I was like on Sohan's ass from the very beginning, right? And now people have come to me on that side, and I'm coming back into Sohan love because I'm like, well, wait a minute, everybody, let's reserve some judgment here. Mitch Johnson has never coached this dude on his own. He has not been in charge of the situation. Maybe he does a better job with Sohan. Maybe Sohan plays better as a collective unit under Mitch Johnson. So now I'm coming back to the whole, let's give Sohan some love and praise here. And so many people are on the other side going, F that. Sohan's trash, right? That's where they're at. I'm coming back towards Matt Lerma's side of the fence, and people are on the deep end going, no, he's a bench player only. Funny.
And look at what happened. Was it like maybe even a season or two ago? Spurs fans were like, Keldon Johnson will never come off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He's a starter. He's our best player. Where's he at now? Coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better players off the bench. An instrumental piece to what San Antonio is doing because he helps with that second unit, And
part of this is about ego.
Sure enough.
And does winning cure all?
Hey, if you told Spurs fans, hey, Keldon coming off the bench and mixing the lineups around a little bit is going to prove more efficient for the team moving forward, and they're going to have an 11-9 record 20 games into the season, I bet you they would have not believed you.
Are they getting starter minutes? And I agree with you, Joe. 11-9, you don't mess with what's working. Spurs won 127-125, gave 42 points in the first quarter, outscored the Kings in the second, third, and fourth. But let's look at these minutes. Vassell still in a minutes restriction, 24 minutes played. It's still a lot of minutes that he's getting, right? So let's say that he gets an extra 6 or 8 minutes, right? And then let's say that Sohan comes in and gets an extra 26 minutes of play. He's probably going to come in on a minutes restriction himself, right? Those 30 minutes have to come from somebody. And we're seeing right now, look at Champagne last night. Champagne 5 of 10 shooting, 4 of 9 from 3. Do you think he's going to lose his starting spot? 19 points in yesterday's game? No, he's not going to lose his starting point. You mentioned Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is a veteran presence out there who stabilizes the game and stretches the floor.
What's the cold hard truth? When's the last time a Spurs player was named Western Conference Player of the Week?
Exactly. And Barnes is just, I mean, the guy doesn't miss games.
And look at the Drew Show, what he says. The cold hard truth is that Vassell, Sohan, and Johnson, big three, are so good they got us Wemby.
That's true. No one's going to replace Wemby. No one's going to replace Chris Paul. And Stephon Castle's needed out there to what? Defend point guards, Joe. He's out there to defend point guards, to defend Ja Morant and SGA and all those guys. That's what he's needed for.
Look at Leha. Christopher Leha saying, Keldon is so good, they should trade him now while the getting is good.
That's a very good point. Keldon Johnson going off yesterday for 17 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3-point land. But Joe, you look at this roster, Joe. Does Mitch Johnson have the balls to look at this team and say, to look at Vassell and look at Sohan and say, I know you guys have been starters for a good while, but it's all about efficiency. Because let's look at that second lineup there, Joe. Keldon, Bassey, Vassell, Trey Jones, Sohan. That unit kind of fits. It kind of does. And then, of course, it's not like middle school basketball, Joe, where you have the starting five and the second five come in. I get that.
No.
But it makes sense. And this is where Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and I have talked about on Locked On Spurs is the fact that Champagnie, Barnes, Chris Paul, Castle, Wemby starting five, it's not the best five players. It's the best five players that fit together.
The chemistry.
Yeah.
I think they found their starting five. I mean, you have good chemistry out there right now. Why mess with what's working for you right now?
And that's the hard part because Sohan's going to come back from injury in about a month.
Probably sooner. They're saying probably in the next couple games he might be out there.
Right. And if he comes back out there, he'll be on a minutes restriction early on.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
And then he won't be at full strength until beginning of the year, right?
Yeah.
But if this is working, it's working. And for Devin Vassell to go out there and say, Devin, we're winning right now, dude. You're still getting your 24 to 30 minutes. You're still getting a lot of shot attempts. We're winning right now.
I think that's his sweet spot, man. Because, I mean, you still get to play with some of the starting unit. You're there in the middle with the second unit. I mean, look at what's happening with the record right now. It's showing you this is working.
Matt Larimer's asking a question. He's trying to bait me into an argument here. So is Mitch Johnson a bad coach if he starts Sohan? No, he's not a bad coach if he starts Sohan. He's a bad coach if he starts Sohan in the same manner that Pop did. If he's having Sohan play the way that Pop allowed Sohan to play, if he focuses the offense on Sohan the way that Pop did, Pop set up Sohan for failure so many times, dude. That point guard experiment was garbage. Either the Spurs were tanking because that was not going to work, dude. You don't even the biggest casual sports fan could look at that and go, "He's not a point guard."
No, you had announcers scratching their head when they were talking about the Spurs.
He's not a 3-point shooter either.
You know?
So what is he doing out there? So if Mitch Johnson can set him up for success, Sohan can be an effective starter. That's the thing, man. And that's the whole thing where all the predictions go out the door is that a Pop-led team and a Mitch Johnson-led team are two different things. And I know, like, we're running the same plays, running the same vision. That's going to be a GIF.
Yeah. You already know. You're serving up gold right now. Swiss, do your thing, brother.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah.
I was trying not to. But Matt, you pissed me off so much. I had to go there.
I like that. Get him fired up, Matt.
All right, we'll talk more about the Spurs. But before we give, let's go to into the NFL. But let's give love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and give Hefe some love. No, let me go ahead and get the right scene here. Now we can. Nope. Now the button doesn't want to work.
Oh.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right. I subscribe on Spotify and YouTube as well. He has more than 5,500 subscribers on YouTube. Very, very cool.
What's he got going on today?
Well, I'm actually going on to his page right now. You can follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on Threads. He has some post-game interviews from Harrison Barnes after the Spurs beat the Kings 127-125 on the road. Talking about he has a time to get back to work GIF over here.
Yeah, that's his ritual, his daily ritual.
And he has some interviews with Victor Wembanyama as well.
Yeah, he also had some excerpts, some quotes from the Spurs
Julian
players.
Champagny. I got to give him a new nickname for him. You know what? I'm gonna call him Fitbit instead of cardio.
God, man.
Because cardio was supposed to be me bagging on him. Fitbit means he's getting his steps, but in a good way.
He's doing good, man. He's a good.
You know what? If you want me to take an L on anything Spurs related, it ain't on Sohan. It ain't on Pop. It ain't on any of that. My big L has been Champagny. I'll admit it. He's playing very, very well. And you know what? He's playing his role, Joe. And that's the thing about it. So when Matt Lerma asked the question, is Mitch Johnson a bad head coach if they bring in Sohan as starter? No.
Matt Lerma says Mike can't handle the truth.
Matt Lerma.
Get it fired up, Matt.
Matt can't spell the word handle.
God, bro. Wow. That's the comeback. That's the quote. That's the quote. Jeez. You're over here making yourself laugh, dude.
No, but Champagny is being asked to do things, and he was doing this under Pop too. So it's not just a Mitch Johnson thing. Champagny is playing within himself. He's not doing anything more than what he's suited to play for, right? He knows his role in the team. He does the little things. He plays a little bit of defense. He stands in the corner, knocks down some threes. I mean, he's basically a bigger Bruce Bowen at this point. I mean, that's a good comparison there, because think about the Spurs heyday when they had Bruce Bowen out there.
Yeah.
Was Bruce Bowen being asked to play point guard?
No, man. He was just asked to go out there and do a role, play defense, knock down an open
Was
three.
Boris Diaw ever asked to do more than what he could do?
No.
You are a role player. Play your role.
Was Boris Diaw ever an NBA All-Star?
No. But he was a 10, 12-year vet.
Was Bruce Bowen an NBA All-Star?
He was an all-time. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
From time
But I'm
to time.
saying, I mean, at the end of the day, they're role players, and you need role players on a team to help, because that's exactly what they do. You know your role and play it well.
That's right. And Champagny Champagny now, he's been with the team long enough. He knows his role, and he's playing within the confines of his role. That's what makes Harrison Barnes so good. He knows what he's out there to do. Stephon Castle, he knows what his role is. CP3 knows what his role is. Wemby knows that he has to be all world and go and check up shots. The problem with Sohan has always been his role is undefined. His role is chaos. And what the Spurs don't need is chaos, Joe. The Spurs need to have consistency and need to have role players out there. If he comes back to full strength and Mitch Johnson starts him, I will support that. The thing is that I want him to know what his role is. And you know what his role is not, Joe?
No.
Shooting 16 to 19 attempts per game. Because if you're shooting 16 to 19 attempts per game, that's what the other team wants, Joe.
Matt Lerma's back. He's back. He's saying your biggest L was calling David Robinson washed.
I said David Robinson was washed this last season. Dude, remember watching those games, Joe? We all were afraid that Robinson was going to get hurt. Remember?
I wasn't afraid that he was going to get hurt. I mean, he was just out there. He was still playing at a good level, especially in the playoffs.
He never embarrassed himself. He never embarrassed himself.
His minutes may not have been what they once were in his heyday.
About 28, 30 minutes per game.
Yeah, they dialed him back.
Average 8 points and 5 rebounds, all career lows.
Yeah, because of his back. But
it was because of his back. Okay.
They had to.
The wash, Joe, had nothing to do with skill. It had everything to do with health. He could never have played another minute for the Spurs. If he wanted to come back for the following season, never was going to happen. He was done. He was spent. I didn't say he sucked. I didn't say he embarrassed himself. Who sucked and embarrassed himself was Tony Parker in Charlotte.
Yeah, he should have retired, man.
Manu never embarrassed himself. Manu was a step slower. Tim was a step slower, but he never embarrassed himself. And David never embarrassed himself.
Manu
out
played a high level.
of Tim, Tony, Manu, and David, the only one who embarrassed himself was Tony. Yeah. And Tony did it in a different jersey.
Manu still played at a high level near the end of his career, and he knew that was his last season. He's like, whether we win or lose, I'm out.
Yeah.
Manu still looks like he can play, though. He's still in great shape.
Dude, Manu dunked the other day, which is amazing.
Jeez, at his age.
Let's talk about the NFL, dude. Joe.
Yeah, let's talk
about
it.
Did you see that hit on
Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, man.
Dude, that was brutal, man.
He was convulsing.
I have it right here if you want me. This is
let's go and
courtesy
show
of
it.
Fox on the NFL. We'll
on the slide,
let's do this here. This was on a slide, right? Text up 6-0. Trevor Lawrence sliding, and a Texans player just committed one of the worst fouls you could ever commit on a player.
Like, why would you do that? You can already see he's sliding. You chose to go ahead and deliver the hit.
He released a statement, the player for the Texans, saying it was the weakest apology ever. He didn't say, I'm sorry for doing what I did. He said, I'm sorry for what happened.
God.
He goes off to say that people have come after him because of his religion. No. They're coming after
that
you
was a
because
dirty play.
You had a dirty play, you idiot.
I mean, not only is this a dirty play, but you could have ended somebody's career here, man.
Yeah.
Why?
And the NFL needs to come down and suspend this guy for a long ass time.
I would suspend him for the rest of the season minimum.
You know what? I got something to say about this, though. We got to talk about the Houston Texans in general.
Yeah.
This team sucks ass.
My Sancha team.
Dude, so according to this doctor here, saying that that Trevor Lawrence's right arm suddenly flexes into what's known as a fencing posture, an involuntary reflex that occurs after blunt head trauma. It signifies a traumatic brain injury,
Concussed
with concussions and severe concussion syndrome.
This brother's going to be having a headache for at least a week or two, man.
This Texans player needs to be sat down for the rest of the year. That is one of the dirtiest plays you'll ever see.
You can kill people doing that kind of stuff, man.
And this is the quarterback, dude. No one gives two rats' asses or shits about a freaking free safety or whatever this guy plays.
Yeah.
This is one of the face of the league. Yeah, he might suck. He might have been a bust coming out of Clemson.
He's on a bad team.
He's on a bad team. But you know what? If you put a photo of this player from the Texans, I'm not even gonna say his name.
Yeah.
You put a photo of him out there and you put a photo of Trevor Lawrence. Even the most casual of football fans will look at Trevor Lawrence. Oh, that's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
2-time national champion, Clemson.
No one's gonna care about the other guy.
No one's gonna care about the other guy. And that's one of the reasons why you have to go after him.
And did you see the coaches talking about it after the game? I mean, of course, the Texans coach, he knew he was going to be inundated with questions about that. But the Jaguars coach, he was just like, I know, he was talking about the Texans coach. I know he doesn't teach his players to do that kind of stuff. He goes, it's just unfortunate that it happens, and he was very respectable and very articulate when he was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't throwing shade at the coach for his players' actions. That was the action of one said player. It's not indicative of what the coaching staff is teaching these players,
Right. Well, Houston Texans are now 8-5 on the season.
Yeah.
And as of right now, hold on to the number 4 spot because they are a division winner in the playoffs. If the playoffs were to start right now, Buffalo would play the Broncos, the Ravens would play the Steelers, the Chargers would play the Texans, and Kansas City would have a bye. I'm sorry, man. Remember last year when we saw the playoffs start, and you and I kind of went back and forth, and I said that the team that has a good record that really sucks is the Dallas Cowboys. They were 12-5. It's like, yeah, they have a lot of wins, but deep down, they suck.
The wheels are going to come off.
That's the Texans this year, dude. And that hit right there summarizes it. That hit right there shows that DeMeco Ryans is starting to lose control of the team a little bit. And I love DeMeco Ryans, and I hope he succeeds and I hope he gets everything back. But DeMeco Ryans to go over there and just rip to shreds everybody on that team. The Texans suck.
You know who doesn't suck? Pittsburgh Steelers head coach, man.
18 straight seasons, Mike Tomlin.
Jeez,
remember
bro.
when Bill Cowher retired?
I remember that.
And everyone's like, who's this Mike Tomlin? Okay, this is the shades of Mitch Johnson pop. And not to say that Cowher is anywhere near pop, but Cowher and Chuck Noll and all those guys, they've gone so many years. I think they've gone like 60 years with 3 head coaches, something to that effect. Everyone's like, how do you replace Bill Cowher? You just get the young dude. You just get the young guy.
Tomlin.
And Tomlin has been that dude, man. Tomlin's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. And he's a magician. 9-3. This team just wins. And Russell Wilson had a big game, like 400 yards passing this weekend. Who would have thought? Joe Burrow threw for 340. no interceptions and lost again. Joe Burrow is in the worst situation ever.
He should just go in there and ask to be traded.
Just get the hell out of there. He is so good at what he does.
Get out.
The
of there,
team
man.
sucks around him. It's like Burrow and Chase, the two guys that went to LSU, are looking around going, we're doing our job. What else everybody else doing?
You know what I would like to see Joe Burrow? What team I would have liked to see him play on? Cowboys.
Dude, he'd be the most popular player in all the NFL if that happened. Did you see that photo of Josh Allen yesterday?
Hey, man, Josh Allen. He had a game yesterday, man.
So that play where the Bills effectively ended the season of the 49ers, and the fact that McCaffrey got hurt again.
You know what? McCaffrey's a jackass. Yeah, when they said, "Oh, he hurt his knee," good.
Good. But this is the photo right here that everyone's talking about here. Josh Allen extending out there for the touchdown to the pylon, jumping the 5-yard line. So if you didn't see the play, he tossed the ball to Amari Cooper, who got kind of stood up at the 7-yard line, pitches it back, has the presence of mind to pitch the ball back to Josh Allen. Josh Allen turns the corner, gets the touchdown. Amazing.
What do winners do? They win.
They win.
And that's what the Bills have been doing.
Josh Allen, the first quarterback to ever in one game have a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he won your fantasy league this week. Josh Allen playing like the MVP, dude.
Dude, he's in the MVP contention right now.
He and Saquon. He and Saquon are the ones looking at it. But the Buffalo Bills, this is the first time, Joe, that with confidence I can tell you.
Hey, you know what, too? Josh Allen's also winning off the field. He got engaged to Haley Steinfeld.
Pop star Haley Steinfeld. Also, she's an actress as well from Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah.
She's also in Pitch Perfect 3. Joe, I can tell you with confidence right now, Joe, that the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC.
You think they're Super Bowl bound this year? I hope so, man.
Okay, first of all, if they can get home games and play in the snow, they're unstoppable there at Orchard Park.
You know what? Me and my good friend Jonas Clark, we had a discussion about this, and we're like, they should just like do away with the dome stadiums, right? Because the elements are part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
As you see what happens, right, when you go play in Pittsburgh, right? You play over there in New York over there with the Buffalo Bills. The elements are part of the game. It gives you an advantage.
Joe, let me ask you a question, Joe. Who's a better team, Buffalo or Kansas City?
Buffalo, man. I think if Buffalo matches up against Kansas City, I think they're going to beat them this time.
Well, Buffalo played them a few weeks ago and beat them 30-21. Yeah. One game behind Kansas City, but again, Buffalo has the tiebreaker, so they just need to catch up. The problem for Buffalo is in 2 weeks, they go to Detroit.
Oof.
That might be a preview of the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. Buffalo at Detroit, both of them with something to play for.
That's going to be a fun game to watch.
That's going to be amazing. But Kansas City, 11-1. Dude, they beat Las Vegas 19-7. They beat Carolina 30-27. They beat Denver 16-14. Tampa Bay 30-24. They beat a bad San Francisco team 28-18. They beat the Raiders 27-20. They beat Atlanta 22-17. Cincinnati 26-25. Baltimore, dude, shades of Texans. They're a better version of the Houston Texans.
What do you think is going to happen when they go into the playoffs? You think they're going to lose? They're going to get trounced early?
No. They'll make the AFC Championship game because, they got those extra officials going out there who are going to be. Yeah. You know it. Joe, I have never been that guy, Joe, to ever say that.
It's conspiracy, man.
But, man, they coddle that Mahomes guy over and over. And Mahomes is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. He's the greatest quarterback of all time is Brady, but the best quarterback of all time is Mahomes. Like in the NBA, the greatest player of all time, Kareem or Jordan. Best player of all time, Kareem or LeBron. The team that nobody wants to face, though, is the Chargers. Why is everybody just sleeping on the Chargers right now?
Man, the Chargers always choke in the big moments, dude.
And
I ain't scared.
Justin Herbert has always been like that whole overrated guy. And what is he doing now? He's actually fulfilling what he was supposed to be doing in the first place.
No,
it's like
it's
like people are looking at him going, yeah, but you guys are going to suck. Dude, they're 8-4.
Doesn't matter, dude. When it comes to the big game, they fold.
Dude, look at this, Joe. Look at this, Joe. They're 8-4 and have outscored their opponents by 72. Same division. The Chiefs are 11-1. 8-4, 11-1. Chiefs have outscored their opponents by 54. How do you have 10 more victories, be 11-1, and outscore your opponents by just 54 points?
The refs, man.
No, dude, the Chiefs are like the Texans. The Texans are 8-5, outscore their opponents by 20.
Yeah.
But you look at the Chargers, outscore their opponents by 72. The Steelers have outscored their opponents by 72. And the Buffalo Bills have outscored their opponents by 131 points.
It's a lot, dude.
131. So if you go by that stat in itself, just the point differential, here are the best teams in the NFL. Buffalo Bills at plus 131, Chargers at plus 72, Steelers at plus 72. If we're to go the NFC, Detroit Lions plus 180, Joe.
Dude,
180.
The Lions are the real deal,
The
man.
Lions are 11-1 with a plus 180 point differential. The Chiefs are third in their division in point differential because even the Broncos outscore their opponents more than the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 11-1 with 54. So that's a 126 point difference in point differential. Same record.
Yeah.
In the NFC, the Eagles have outscored their opponents by 102. Those are the only two teams. Oh, the Commanders by plus 80. Dude, I'm sorry, man. We are in a 4 to 5 horse race for the Super Bowl. The Bills, the Steelers, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. One of those 4 teams is going to come out of the AFC. Eagles, Lions. I mean, they're destined for the NFC Championship game, right? And that's 2 teams that are dude.
Yes.
I know we say that the Lions are the best team in the NFC. That Eagles team, that team is special, man. Saquon Barkley has turned the clock backwards.
He has, man. But you know what? We haven't talked about our Cowboys, man. My Cowboy team here, they got back-to-back wins. They're giving the fans false hope, Mike, because they got 5 games left on the season. Their next opponent, December 9th, Monday night game against the Bengals, man. Joey Burrow. You think he's going to just absolutely embarrass this Cowboy team?
Well, the problem is that Joe Burrow, he's going to embarrass the team. The question is, can Cooper Rush get some points out there?
Cooper Rush had a decent game against the Giants.
He did.
He's looking like he's a quarterback.
I saw
He's
this stat from RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys saying that Cooper Rush has started 10 games as a Cowboys starter. He's 7-3. That hurt a little bit, didn't it, Joe?
No, it felt good because I don't believe in Dakota Rain Prescott, dude. I always said that, man. As long as he's the Cowboys' leading quarterback, this team ain't going nowhere, man.
All right, so where are the Cowboys right now? The Cowboys are 12th in the conference right now with a 5-7 record, behind the San Francisco 49ers, who are also 5-7. What do the Cowboys need to do?
Win out.
They need to win out because right now they're 3 games or 2.5 games behind the Commanders for the last spot. The last spot is a 7 spot, is an 8-5 record.
Are they going to be able to catch the Commanders and the Eagles?
Well, they're not going to catch the Eagles. They have to catch the Commanders.
I mean,
if you're watching the standings, you're looking at it. The only team that you have to look at is the Commanders, because it doesn't matter if Atlanta loses or Detroit loses or Philly loses or Seattle loses, because they have division winners and whatnot. Green Bay is 9-3. They're not going to crumble. They're 9-3. Minnesota's 10-2. They're in the playoffs already, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not mathematically, but for all intents and purposes. The Commanders are the only team that they can theoretically catch. So, the Cowboys' schedule, though,
it favors them a little bit.
Cincinnati,
Panthers,
Carolina, Tampa. 3 winnable games. Joe, we might go into the last 2 weeks of the season with the Cowboys being 8-7. And then they've got a road game. They've got a road game against the Eagles, but what if the Eagles are already locked into the 2 spot? They start benching their players.
put the scrubs out there.
9-7, taking on the Commanders
for a game that
Jerry
matters.
World. Dude, make it so, and then crap the bed. Oh, I want to see it.
The
so
last
bad.
play.
I
No,
wanna
the
see
last
it so
play of the
bad.
game, Cooper Rush throws an interception.
I want to see it so bad.
Why? So you can come in like Stephen A. Smith and smoking that cigar. How you doing?
Joe, I was I'm in a fantasy football league that's an auction league, And one of the controversial things that I did was spend a lot of money on a particular player. And I remember they looked at me and they said, "What do you think he is, Travis Kelce?" That was the exact words that were said. You know what my response back was? Yeah. Brock Bowers of the Las Vegas Raiders is starting to break records for tight ends. Brock Bowers, this past game, 10 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown. Let's go through his stats real fast, Joe.
Okay.
This is who I wanted the Saints to draft in the draft, but he got picked a couple of spots before the Saints picked. But Brock Bowers coming out of Georgia, 6'4", 230. Here he is for the season right now. 884 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns, 84 receptions. Now, this is a tight end, Joe. A tight end. The last few games, he's had 140, 38, and 126 yards. Is it possible that this guy right here could be the rookie of the year and we're not actually looking at him that way? Because we all saw Jaden Daniels, right? Jaden Daniels came off to a hot start. Washington was winning games. But Brock Bowers could end the season, Joe. How many games left? 5?
Yeah, 5 games left on the season.
He could end the season with 12, 1,300 yards receiving as a tight end, Joe.
That's insane, dude.
As a rookie tight end.
On a bad team.
On a bad team. Everybody knows that they're throwing to him.
You know what this Raiders team needs? They need a quarterback.
That's all they need.
Dakota Rain Prescott over there, that would have been something special, man.
That would have had it.
You know, and then the Cowboys, they go and they pick up Joey Burrow when he decides he wants to trade.
Yeah. So for those of you who are into fantasy football, I've been writing Brock Bowers and the tight end from as my flex player, the tight end from the Miami, Sanu. I got him off the waiver wire about a month and a half ago. Jonnu Sanu. Okay, fantasy football 101, man. These guys just ball out. Sanu yesterday, 113 yards receiving as a tight end. He had 87 the week before and 101 the week before. I'm writing Bowers and Sanu into the playoffs, dude. This is great.
You're gonna win your fantasy league?
I'm 8-5, and
All
we
right.
start the playoffs next week. I didn't get a bye, but I have a good team. The problem is that my quarterback sucks.
Who's your QB?
Well, because of injuries, I had to pick. There was only two players that I could have picked up for a quarterback because they're all taken. It's a long, wide season. A lot of teams out there. Everyone has 2 quarterbacks. I had 2 to choose from because of injuries.
Where were they?
Trevor Lawrence. Glad I didn't pick him.
God.
I'm going to the playoffs with Cooper Rush.
Oh, man.
I have Cooper Rush and a stud team behind him. I have Jahmyr Gibbs, Brock Bowers, I have Sanu. I've got stud receivers from the Texans. I've got I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I've got a good team, dude.
Your quarterback's high.
My quarterback, dude, Cooper Rush just get me 250 and 2 touchdowns, and I'd be happy, dude. I'd be happy.
You're gonna have to coast in there with him.
Yeah, we have a Monday night game tonight, right?
Yeah, man.
Browns and Broncos. Who gives a crap?
Yeah, nobody's gonna be watching that. But I'll tell you what, man. One thing that we do got to talk about. We got to talk about some college football, man. We got to talk specifically about UTSA, man.
Well, can we get to that first? But Texas going into A&M.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game at all?
I watched it,
dude.
Hey, man, that Aggies crowd they were hyped, man.
Hey, Colts do what Colts do.
You know,
that was a hype squad, dude. That was a great game. Texas goes on to win 17-7. It was interesting because I call it a game of inches, and A&M going for it in the first quarter on 4th down in the red zone. You can look at it and say that they did it because they were trying to be aggressive and they're a home team. You can also look at it and say to yourself, well, it's because they know that they weren't as talented as Texas. They wet the bed early. Texas was running the ball. Quinn Ewers was having a cold night to start off, kind of caught fire towards the stretch. Quinn Ewers was stretching the play. Arch Manning with that touchdown where he dove for the pylon. He was called out at the 4-yard line. How often do you see a player get called out the 4-yard line and then they reverse and say it was a touchdown? Like I've seen it where you get called out the 1 and then they reverse.
That's a great picture of him too.
Yeah.
extending,
Yeah, Ewers throw a pick six for 90 some odd yards. It was looking like A&M had a chance down the stretch, going for it on 4th and 1 inside the 10. They get stopped. Game over, 17-7. It was a great. It's good for the state of Texas. It's good for college football to see the Longhorns and Aggies go at it.
Yeah.
Right. It's good. I'm surprised that the Longhorns won. I thought this was a trap game for them, but they went in there. They beat a good team. It's about time. They beat a good team, and they're going to be playoff bound, and they're going to go to the SEC championship game in their first year ever, taking on who, Joe?
Georgia, man. He's the team that went ahead and beat them on their home field, man.
Joe, I'll make a prediction, Joe.
Go ahead. I already know what you're going to say.
This isn't the last time we're playing Georgia this year. Texas is going to play Georgia 3 times this year.
Think so?
We're going to play them once again. Georgia's going to win this game and going to go to the SEC, is going to go to the playoff. And somehow, some way, it's going to be stacked up where Texas plays Georgia again. It'll be the first time in college football history where a team plays another team 3 times. And can Texas lose to this team 3 times in a row in one season? That would be embarrassing. Imagine that happening, Joe. No one's talking about that scenario. It's possible. It is very possible.
Look at this. Was funny too. I saw this. It says, "Look up Baylor flashing the AT&T Stadium glare of the jumbotron
That
to mess
was hilarious.
with the KU kicker."
That was hilarious. The AP
God.
Top 25 is out. Oregon
Yeah,
is number 1.
there we are.
And they got all 62 first place votes. They are undefeated 12-0. They are the Big Ten champion, their first year in the Big Ten. Regular season champion. Texas moves up 1 spot to number 2. Penn State at 3. Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame as an institution and as a team. Hate them. I hate them. They're number 4. And college football is better when Notre Dame's good. Georgia at number 5. Now, here's the thing, Joe. Is Georgia out of the playoffs if they go 10-3 and they lose to Texas?
Oh, man.
Tennessee at 6. Ohio State drops 5 spots down to number 7 after losing to Michigan. SMU, look at the ponies. Moving up 1 spot to number 8.
In the top 10 now, man.
Indiana with 1 loss at number 9. Boise State repping the Big 12 at number 10. Bama at number 11. Arizona State at 12. So Arizona State or Boise State, one of them's gonna make it, right? One's not gonna make it. On the outside looking in, you have South Carolina, Miami, Ole Miss, Iowa State, BYU. They're out, dude. These are all out. Army's out. All of that. Colorado, all of them are out. It would have been nice to have seen Prime make it, but that last loss that Colorado had, ruined it all. But if you look at the playoffs, Joe, let's say that it settles the way that it is right now. Texas getting a bye.
Yeah.
Oregon, Penn State, Notre Dame getting a bye. That's a good thing, dude. That's a good thing. Texas is in the playoff, though.
Yeah, but we have to talk about.
They could lose by 50 to Georgia. They're still in the playoffs.
Let's talk about the game for the ages. As Tim Gonzalez brought this up.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech versus Georgia, dude. 8 overtimes.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Damn.
I was watching part of that game. My girlfriend and I went out on Friday night. One of the things that we did was we went to the distilleries. We went to Rebecca Creek. We went to this one little winery out there in Bulverde. And as we were coming back, we stopped at the Angry Elephant, the Rue Pub, and we stopped at that poker club that they have over there, a Big Blind.
Yeah.
So we're having a drink at the Big Blind, and I'm watching the game, and I saw Georgia State score a touchdown to go up 27-13. 3:30 to go. I said, I cannot believe Georgia lost. Cannot believe it. My girlfriend was like, do you want to play poker? I'll watch you play poker for an hour, hour and a half if you want me to just be by your side. By the way, that's an A+ girlfriend right there. Right? Because very rarely does a girl want to go watch you play poker.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. So we went to the Lodge, which used to be called Rounders.
Yeah.
They put the game on. It was 3:30 to go. I get to the Lodge 30 minutes later, and the game is still on. And I'm like, what the hell happened? How did Georgia Tech lose a 2-touchdown lead in 3 minutes? Went to 8 overtimes again. The first 3 are the actual, going back and forth. And then they go to 2-point conversions versus it's like penalty kicks in soccer. And it went 8 overtimes. Brutal game, but Georgia wins. Georgia would have been out of the playoffs. Georgia's playing with house money at this point. They don't belong there.
Yeah.
They don't belong.
They had shut them out. Georgia Tech had shut out Georgia. I think it was in the first half. There was like 17-0.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, man. The scheme that they had brought out against Georgia was great. Georgia Tech was doing a great job. But it's a tale of two halves, Mike.
Yeah. Was it overkill to use pepper spray on those kids over at Ohio State, Michigan?
What were they doing, man?
Okay, so after the game, there's been a fine, $100,000 per each school. Big Ten fined Michigan and Ohio State. For those of you who didn't watch, Michigan is the defending national champions, but Michigan also has had a bad season, right? They lost to Texas earlier this year. New coach, new quarterback. They didn't play the way that they should have been playing this year, right? They came back down to earth. But their Super Bowl, their national championship every year is Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Michigan owns Ohio State. They really do. And you look at what happened after the game. A Michigan player, not Michigan State. A Michigan player tried to plant the Michigan M flag on the middle of the field. And this is courtesy of Fox Sports, by the way. See, there's a flag somewhere on the left-hand side. They try to plant it on the middle of the Ohio State logo. Just very disrespectful. Ohio State players came and rushed towards the field and went after the Michigan players, trying to defend their logo. This went on for 4.5 minutes until cops decided tear gas them. And there's video on the sidelines of the players rubbing their eyes, crying because of the tear gas.
Oh, yeah, man.
Was it too far to have tear gas involved? Look, there's the flag right there. See the Michigan flag right there?
I mean, come on, man. You don't got to tear gas these kids, dude.
Okay, first of all.
Were they fighting? No, not really. They're kind of just pushing each other around. There was.
Okay, so here he is. He's trying to plant the flag. Take that guy's scholarship away, dude. You obviously have no sportsmanship if you're going to go try to plant a flag on the field. The Longhorns tried doing this to the Aggies at Kyle Field many, many years ago. And I believe they pulled guns on the Longhorns, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There's the tear gas. There's the tear gas. There it is right there. Crazy, dude. So, what are your thoughts, Joe?
I just think it was a whole lot of nothing. I mean, they were just pushing each other. Why do you have to go and spray them? I mean,
it had lasted 4.5 minutes. So it wasn't like they were going back. Like if nothing had been done to disperse them, they would have kept going at each other, right? Do you know what this reminded me of?
what?
Give me 5 seconds to find this video here. Give me 5 seconds here, Joe. You ready? You ready?
Yeah, let's see.
This is what it reminded me of, Joe. Courtesy of Fox Sports from back in the day. Remember this, Joe. Back in the 90s.
T.O.
Back in the 90s. This is what he was trying to do. This is what that Michigan player was trying to do. We remember this, right?
Yeah, Terrell Owens.
That's exactly what I thought of. That's what he was trying to do, Joe.
And the irony in the whole thing, came over here to play for the Cowboys. Throwing the popcorn in his face. Remember that crap? Oh, God.
And then remember Emmitt Smith came back and scored a touchdown later on.
Yeah.
Who's that? Teague? Who was that did that? That's so funny. That's the first thing I thought of, dude.
Yeah, it was Teague. God.
Oh my goodness, Joe! So much sports going on this past week.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening.
We have a good
man.
Monday. We have a good screw Monday Night Football, dude. Ain't nothing to watch there, dude. But let's get some love to MCS General Contracting.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it, man.
They've been there since day one.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
For that Diamond Hard Concrete, I'm a client myself. No lie, they did a fantastic job. Come by my house. I'll show you what it looked like, man. They did an amazing job. Sidewalk. They added to our landing, steps and whatnot. Fantastic. Dude.
Yeah.
Added to the value of the home.
Go ahead and call Chris Leha for all your contracting needs. Get that Diamond Hard Concrete in your life. The number is 210-774-9155. And tell them you were sent by the Alamo City Sportscast.
Latest mock draft is out for the NFL season, for the 2025 NFL draft. Again, there's no lottery when it comes to the NFL draft. It's based on your record. And right now, the number one pick would belong to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are going to be out without Trevor Lawrence. They have Jacksonville going after Travis Hunter, the dual threat cornerback wide receiver who could win the Heisman Trophy this year, out of Colorado, going number one. They believe that Shadir Sanders, also of Colorado, would go number two to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey, man.
Can you imagine if Prime Time goes over there? Prime becomes their coach, and Shadur is the quarterback.
Makes them a playoff team.
Hey, baby.
That'd be
We
fun.
see the stars lining up. Former UIW star who's now with Miami, Cam Ward, projected to go number 3 to the New York Giants, who got rid of Danny Dimes. My Saints would be drafting number 9 if the season ended right now, and they would go after edge from Tennessee, James Percy Jr. Ashton Genty, the stud running back, projected to go number 10 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Remember back in the day, Joe, we were talking about how the Cowboys had a chance of a top 5 pick?
Yeah.
Well, right now they're back at number 13.
Winning's not helping their cause, man.
They would take, according to Tankathon, Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. Houston Texans would be picking number 23 right now, getting an offensive tackle named Jonah with lots of syllables behind that name. Don't know who that guy is. See any players from Texas. Shamar Stewart, an edge, going to Detroit from A&M. Isaiah Bond, wide receiver from Texas, projected to go number 26 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle, who, by the way, is hurt right now. He was hurt on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Going number 11 to the Chicago Bears. Before we go, Joe, a lot of Aggie fans were pissed off the other day. I mean, deservedly so, because they don't want to lose to their rival. It's been 13 years, right?
Of course.
What are your thoughts on Matthew McConaughey being on the sidelines of UT games?
What does it really matter? I mean, he is teaching there at the university, so it's not like he's just an actor that's just coming out getting preferential treatment on the side of the field there, right?
Right.
He is teaching a class there. He is alum.
Here's some video of him, by the way. Doing horns up to the Aggie crowd. I mean, he's the unofficial mascot of the Texas Longhorns, right?
Yeah, well, he ain't doing no harm. He ain't doing nothing disrespectful.
A lot of Aggie fans were all upset on Twitter about it, saying, "Oh, he believes that he's part of the program and whatnot." And,
he is part of it.
And people are there saying, "Well, man, you guys are calling yourself the 12th man, so that's the whole point. That's the whole point, right?"
I bet you he's funding this as well with his money because he's alum. It seems like the players and everybody loves him. I mean.
So, all right, okay, I'll support it because he's teaching there. Tony Arnaldo's reaching out with one more NBA note. It says, can we talk about Utah actually tanking with Will Hardy, their head coach, not calling a timeout in the middle of the game, winning layup by Sexton? Yeah, there's some outright tanking going on in the NBA right now. tanking for Cooper Flag.
Oh God. It is what it is in this sense, because teams are going to want to go ahead and jockey for position to try to go ahead and get that number 1 overall pick in the draft. Just because your record is really poor, it gives you a better possibility of garnering that number 1 pick. Doesn't mean that you'll get it. Look what happened with the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, they've been picking 5 back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Right now, if the NBA season ended right now and things fell in the order that they should fall in, the Spurs would be picking at number 13 and at number 16. That Atlanta pick dropping to number 16 because the West is so stacked.
Look at this, Mr. Lerma. He says, one thing I agree with Mike on is that I hope Mitch Johnson takes over officially for Coach Pop. I can't wait for that AFO commercials.
And that's the thing, Matt, and Spurs fans out there. You can't say we hope to marinate this guy. He's either the head coach forever or he's gone. He's gone.
Oh, God. Here's Hefe. He's in the chat. He says, coming in here late, but Street saying Jimenez flip-flopping on Sohan again.
It's not flip-flopping on Sohan. It's doubling down on Mitch Johnson. That is what it is. What did Ishan say?
Oh, he says.
Oh, he put the money in for the Moody Center.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And Isan says, Aggie fan mad at that. It was, how about beat them when you play them?
Joe, just realize, Joe, here's what we talked about. We talked about the Spurs winning. We talked about the Cowboys winning. We talked about the Texans winning. We talked about the Longhorns winning. It was a good weekend.
It was a good weekend. And we also talked about, the latest college AP poll. Talked about the NBA standings for the Spurs and where they stand in the West. Looking at as almost a picture of what will happen in the college football playoffs. Those are going to be coming up here shortly as well. And it'll be an exciting time, man. You got the trifecta coming in. NFL season's already starting to kind of wane down a little bit. You got about 5 games left for almost every team out there. Everybody's jockeying for position in the upcoming playoffs as well. It'll be exciting times, man. You got the NBA in full swing now. They're 20 games into the season, about a quarter of the way through the season here. Let's see what happens on Christmas Day for the Spurs. See if they can go ahead and give Spurs fans a win for their gift.
Dude, everyone asking about UTSA football. Tell me what happened. Cristiano Ochoa asking the question, what happened with UTSA football? It was close.
Close game, man. Closer than I expected. At the end of the day, it was not to be, but UTSA did put up a valiant effort against Army. Final score is 29-24. UTSA is coming on strong to finish the season, man, and they are bowl eligible right now. They went ahead and won out and beat the teams they needed to go ahead and become bowl eligible. Team looked like it was going nowhere fast in the beginning of the season. They had some disappointing losses. You got to go ahead and give all the credit to Coach Traylor and his staff and what they've been able to do with this team. Got them playing at a high level to finish the season off.
Here's what they have going on right now. By the way, if you want to show this on CBS Sports,
sure.
UTSA won all their home games, lost all their home games. But according to the predictions of CBS Sports, based on what they believe the playoffs are going to happen, they believe that Georgia's going to beat Texas in the SEC championship game and get a bye. They believe that the playoffs would be Tennessee going to Ohio State, Arizona State going into Notre Dame, Indiana going into Penn State, and they believe that Miami, Cam Ward, again, UIW star Cam Ward, who now plays for Miami, going into DKR to take on the Texas Longhorns. And then the Longhorns would then have to play Boise State to get to the Final Four. As far as other bowls are concerned, the expectation is, according to CBS Sports, that UTSA would take on Georgia Southern in the First Responder Bowl, January 3rd in Dallas. So keeping it close to home. Other Texas schools, projections from CBS Sports have TCU taking on LSU at the Texas Bowl on New Year's Eve. They have North Texas State in the New Mexico Bowl against San Jose State. That's on December 28th. Baylor taking on Tulane in the Armed Forces Bowl on the 27th. Again, these are just projections. Texas Tech against Rutgers in the Rate Bowl on December 26th. Look at Oklahoma, how far they've fallen. The Frisco Bowl. Can you imagine Oklahoma picking on Jacksonville State in the Frisco Bowl?
Ugh,
Gross.
wouldn't want to go and see that.
Texas State in the Cure Bowl, December 20th against South Florida. Look at the kitty cats. That's very cool, dude. That's very cool.
Good for them too, man. They've programmed and they've turned it around here.
Not a lot of Texas schools made it. What about the Aggies?
I don't know, man.
The Aggies are bowl eligible.
They are bowl eligible. I don't think they've been announced yet, though. I was going to ask you, man, what did you think about the digs in here now?
The Aggies, by the way, would projected to be in the Las Vegas Bowl
okay.
against Washington State.
I was going to say, what did you think about the new digs? We are officially,
dude. I ran in here so fast. Yeah, we got the Christmas vibe over here.
Yeah, a little Christmas vibe going on.
I like it, dude. I like it. I noticed that over there. And then you have the
presents,
snowflakes, and all that stuff over there.
Yeah. I did it all by myself because I was here watching the Spurs game while I was doing this. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be here for a month. Might as well do something.
Yeah. This weekend I'll be in town. So I'm going to be doing the Rock and Roll Half Marathon. I'm going to go for a run today.
Nice.
My knee's feeling wonky though, man.
Have to use a brace.
This is the first time I've ever prepped for the half marathon, thinking to myself, I might not finish. I did a 5K over the weekend with my daughter Gabby.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I'm so loved on Twitter that people were bagging on my time. One of them being Spernandez.
I saw that. That made me laugh. He goes, "If you would have."
I wouldn't have passed the military.
Yeah, that would have been a fail because it was like 3 something.
I have a photo right there. Of course, this is my daughter Gabby. I ran 3.1 miles in 34:43. Now I think I actually did it faster because there was a log jam at the end of the gate as you're going through the timer. I honestly think I was about 10 to 12 seconds faster because I had to wait, and then I passed the timer thing, right? So let's just call it 34:40. Let's say that it is accurate, right? It's an 11:10 mile. So I did 3 minutes in 33 and a half minutes. For a guy that weighs 232,
not bad at all.
Do you know what I ran? 34:43. Do you know what I ran it last year?
What?
39.
Okay.
I was 25 pounds heavier, and I ran in 39 minutes. 25 pounds lighter, and I ran in 34. I want to lose 3 or 4 pounds this week by just, low carbon it for a few days before I go out onto the field to run on Saturday. I got to lower at the weight as possible for my knee, dude. I really do. And I've been running. I've been refereeing. I have referee tomorrow. But for Spernandez to come out there and say, you wouldn't have passed a Marine, says, I'm not a Marine.
But it was just funny, though, because it's like you did this, and it's like you would have failed.
Yeah, but here's the thing. At 47 years old, I did the math, and I looked it up. I would have passed the Air Force's test. The Air Force's test is funny, man. I would have passed SAPD's test.
God.
So very nice, dude.
Good that you had a good Thanksgiving, weekend there. We took some time off to be with their families and have some fun. That's what I did.
Tony wants Edgar Mike shirts for sale.
Oh, God. We'll probably have to send him one just for you, Tony.
Very nice. Again, Monday night football tonight. When do the Spurs play again?
I believe they play again in a couple of days from now.
I'm sure we'll have Jeff Garcia on. Spurs play the Suns tomorrow.
And that's the one that they have to win in order to go ahead and advance into the tourney.
Mm-hmm.
If they win this one, because basically there's like a 3 or 4 way tie right now with a lot of these teams in Group B that have the same record. Essentially, if the Spurs go ahead and beat the Suns, they're in, and they're moving on in the tourney.
It's funny how we now care about this because the Spurs have a chance of being something.
Yeah. Maybe winning some money for their team,
We're all going to care if they make it to Vegas, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll care. Because, it's fun when your team's able to do something like that. Right now, that wouldn't have been a thought in Spurs fans' minds. And now that it's here, it's like, hey, you got to win this game against the Suns. But the thing is, they don't play certain players on back-to-backs.
Yeah.
I think Devin Vassell might sit out for this one. If he does, I don't think it's going to bode well for the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Everyone have a fantastic day. A little disappointed by Usher, man. A little disappointed, Joe. Should I have expected Usher to be that cochino?
Come on, bro.
Let it burn. Let it burn. You know,
He's a
OMG.
cochino, man. He's
Loving
been-
this club.
He's been to the Diddy parties, bro.
I forgot he was his protege, dude. And my girlfriend, I told her, I said, babe, I said, if they had been doing that in front of us, Toyota Center is a big place, right?
Yeah.
We were on the side of the stage. They were doing the strip offs and the twerking contests 100 yards away, like way in the middle of nowhere, right? But it just kept going. He just got more and more cochino as the night went on. I don't mind it's sexy. I don't mind even a little bit dirty. That's fine. He kept going, dude. There was one song he was up there where he goes out there, he puts his hand on his inside his pants. You can tell he's grabbing his crank. And he's jerking for like 6 or 7 strokes. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The crowd's eating it up, and I'm there going, okay. He spots a girl with massive cleavage and goes, girl, you came to party. Let me go talk to you. Goes and talks to her, gets cherries out, 2 cherries for every girl that he sees, and he's dangling them, wanting them to tongue him.
Oh God.
Did he do it to one girl? No.
No.
He took 10 minutes to do it to 40 girls.
Wow.
He had a twerking contest. He had 2 actual strippers on stage.
Usher might be USOA
Cochino,
material
man.
right there, man.
Fantastic day, dude. We made it all the way to 11:44. Everyone have a fantastic day. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We will be back tomorrow. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank you, Drew Show, for the super chat as well. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
All right, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow, man. Have a good one. We're
See ya.
out.